Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into a lyrical manifesto. And let me tell you, this thing is dense, it's provocative, and it introduces us to this incredibly powerful persona. So what we're going to do is break it down, really get into the weeds, to figure out the complex and challenging worldview at its core.
So right out of the gate, the piece just hits you with this line. It's not some quiet entrance, right? This is a declaration. The narrator just storms in with this confrontational, almost mythical vibe, basically announcing that a major player is back on the scene and he's here to reclaim his territory.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We're breaking our analysis down into four main parts. First up, we'll look at the persona he's building for himself. Then, we'll get into his critique of the world he sees. After that, we'll explore his total rejection of the collective narrative, and we'll wrap up with the personal philosophy he builds on top of all that rubble.
All right, section 1. Let's start with the persona. So the narrator, who goes by Cordell Miller, right away starts building this identity for himself. And it's all about being this dominant, veteran figure, someone who absolutely plays by his own set of rules.
So look at how he frames his own story here. He basically says, yeah, I used to be a former hamburglar, a nobody, almost a joke. But then he contrasts that with who he is now, the grimace, the hustle-hard president. It's this massive, undeniable transformation from a bit player to the main event, a real figure of power.
And get this, he doesn't just claim power, he completely redefines what it even means. He comes up with this whole concept of gravity, where he sees himself as the center of the universe, the life-giving core that everyone, and I mean everyone, just naturally orbits. Talk about a statement of pure self-centeredness.
But here's the kicker. This power he's talking about, it's not about money or status. No, he's claiming it through pure intellectual and lyrical skill. When he calls himself a master of the syllable, what he's really saying is that his way with words is so next level that it makes him highly hated, but also, impossible to ignore. Absolutely potent.
Okay, so he's built up this powerful persona, right? Now, he turns his attention outwards. And he starts this absolutely fierce critique of the world he's just stepped back into, what he calls the game.
And man, the picture he paints it's bleak. Just totally bleak. In his view, the whole system is shot. The culture, it's full of fried kids. The industry's business model, totally broken. And live shows, forget about it, too dangerous. For him, the game isn't just broken, it's turned straight up ugly.
And this line right here? Wow, it perfectly captures just how cynical his worldview is. It's so stark. He's basically saying that in today's world, even the most intimate relationships are just a cold, hard cost-benefit analysis. I mean, what a harsh commentary on how he thinks human connection has been devalued. So, you can see this critique of the game isn't just about the music industry. Not at all. This is actually the jumping-off point for his most controversial argument yet, one that gets at the very nature of society itself. This is where things get really interesting. And that brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most provocative part of this whole piece. The narrator stops being just a critic and becomes a kind of revolutionary. He rejects the entire idea of a collective identity, not just a part of it, the whole shebang. This right here is the absolute heart of his argument. He makes this totally uncompromising claim that us doesn't exist. Any kind of collective us, whether it's based on culture, race, nationality, whatever, he says it's a fiction. In his world, there are only individuals, separate and competing. And then he takes that logic and applies it directly to his own racial identity. He just dismisses it, says it's an unearned label, and because he didn't choose it, it's meaningless to him. This is a huge piece of his shift toward this philosophy of just radical individualism. So, from his point of view, he sees a major social movement not as this call for justice, but as something trying to force him into line, demanding an allegiance he's just not willing to give. He paints it as this external pressure threatening him because he won't conform, which, for him, just reinforces his whole idea that there really is no us.
So how does he justify throwing all of this out? Well, he takes a very cynical view of history. He basically says history is just a story written by the winners, and that's it. And he uses that belief as his permission slip, his reason to just move on and shed all these labels that society tries to stick on him. Okay, so he's just spent all this time tearing everything down. Social structures, history, all of it. So what's left? Well, this is where the narrator pivots and starts to build his own philosophy right from the ground up. And he's not just leaving behind a mess. He actually offers a clear roadmap, a kind of program. It's a 4-step process for getting what he considers true power. Step 1, get rid of all the old labels. Step 2, accept the hand you were dealt. Step 3, redefine the rules of the game. And finally, Step 4, build your own world from scratch.
The whole thing, this entire philosophy, it all rests on one core idea: absolute, unavoidable, personal responsibility. In his world, every single choice you make leads to a direct consequence, period. There are no excuses, no other ways to spin it. You own your choices and you own the outcome.
And this is where you see his ultimate ambition. I mean, this goes way beyond just personal freedom. His endgame is to create a reality so powerful, so compelling, that other people will look at it and willingly choose to adopt it for themselves. It's a huge goal.
Which, of course, leaves us with the huge question at the heart of this entire manifesto. After you strip away identity, history, community, all of it, is the ultimate form of power really the ability to create your own reality, and not just for you, but to make it so powerful that it redefines the world for other people too? The text definitely has its own answer, but it kind of leaves the rest of us to wrestle with what that really means.